can't think of any other red leader that looks like we can't quite see the angle, so you have to forgive us. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I believe we're switching over to that view shortly anyway to get us into it. So,
And it might be the alt. That's what it is. It's the alt lead. Okay, cool.
Yeah, sorry guys, we really thought we'd just accidentally stumbled on a different leader for you. We just dressed Topku up as a different leader, presented it to you anyway, and you caught us out. Yeah, it's a mirror match. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, excellent. So we have Eric Hill. Is it Eric Hill we've got? Because he obviously had the
Eric Hill versus Colin Wong here.
Excellent. Should be a good little match.
Oh, absolutely. And I think, to be fair, we've staved off the mirror match for, like, we had one round one, and then we've had 5 rounds, yes, of Topku, but, like, not the mirror match. And the thing is, when we get to this higher up in the standings, we're seeing some really high-level play. We were really, really lucky to see the high-level play we saw in the first round. That just happens to be luck on our side. But here, we know these players are undefeated playing this deck. We know they must know how to navigate the mirror match, because if they've avoided mirror matches up to this point, sure thing. But they must have played a few of them in preparation. So I imagine they're very, very skilled. And we're going to see a few nuances as we go through this matchup, which is, that's the exciting part we've got to take away from it. Yeah, it might be a little bit, it's Topku versus Topku, but we'll have a look at kind of the nuances here in each person's play and how they're going to go about the matchup.
Yeah, and the thing is, obviously, we know Eric is a great player from Masters. I personally don't know his opponent, so I'm sorry if I've casted you and I've potentially overlooked. But we know obviously Eric from Dragon Ball Masters. He's a very established player, so it'll be interesting. And obviously, like you said, they're both undefeated, so they're obviously here. They know what they're doing, and they're obviously playing quite arguably the strongest deck in the format as well. So it'll be interesting as well.
Yeah, so I've just told them they can start, and away we go. Not sure if we want to charge that Caterpillar we just saw there, but
man, I'm so happy to see that in the energy. I'm so happy to see our policemen as or Power Rangers, if you want to call them. I'm excited to see if they do more sort of U3 kind of stuff. But I like the fact they did the TOP theme as the whole TOP rather than just a U7 theme or a U6 theme. I don't know if you feel the same, but I like the fact, even though it's Goku, so it might not make sense from a thematic point of view, but I like the fact it's a TOP leader, but it's like the entire of TOP, not just U7, basically.
Yeah, it's really cool because, crucially, they don't have Jiren in there.
Oh yes, that's a good point. No
Jiren. So it is actually kind of thematic. It's almost Goku and the rest of Tournament of Power versus versus them there. I'm not sure. Are you having some freezing on your end there?
It's frozen for me, brother.
Okay, so I think just bear with us, everybody. We are just waiting for this to come back up. Let me just let them know. 1 second. Yeah, Peter, you are on it as well.
Oh, okay,
there we go. We are back up and running. We see that now.
Okay.
Topku broke the stream. Yes, Topku did break the stream. It broke Damien. It came for the stream next. There's no stopping this deck.
Yeah, definitely. And I was just literally about to say, you kind of gave my hopes up for a Jiren type U11 deck next set. So you know what I mean? I could imagine the same kind of maybe effect, but maybe U11. So we see, Jiren kind of having that effect where maybe he, rather than dies, he gets a life back or something like that. Maybe once per game. Maybe that would be something cool. I don't know.
He's going to burn a life off you every time you play a battle card. It's just going to be a hard counter to the Tournament of Power deck. Your opponent crits 3 life when they play a 4-drop Kefla.
Yeah, well, exactly. It'll be very interesting. But yeah, you're right. They could literally do like a Durin leader and quite like have it the opposite, where, like you say, it's a TOP themed, but it's all to do with U11 instead. That would definitely be interesting, because again, like we've got everything in here. We've got Ribian, we have Caterpillar, we have the dogs.
The doggos, the good doggos are in there.
The doggos are in there, exactly. So yeah, very, very interesting, and I look forward to seeing I guess what this set brings, and future sets as well, really. So we've pretty much seen the standard start. I mean, this I must admit, Eric has some bling in his deck, doesn't he? He's got the Master Roshi TP alternative art as well, which looks fantastic, because that's the
than I'm already blind. Like, I thought I was blind before, but this bling is just about finishing me off. I think I'm finally going to get that guide dog I've always been after. But beautiful looking deck nonetheless. And, he threw us off already with the alt-art leader and everything, but those roaches look amazing as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. And the alternative arts in Fusion World looks, absolutely amazing. So this is the 2-drop Kefla, isn't it? It's got crit. But most importantly, you can take a life on play, and this is what you were saying before, wasn't it? The self-awakening stuff. It's like this is some of the more important cards in the game. Well, in this particular matchup, because if you're not swinging really much, you need to start self-awakening somehow.
Yeah, and you can see there, like, with Eric, he's just kind of like setting up his board, like the Roshi into the Khalifa. Turn 1, turn 2 feels really strong. And if there's no answer to that Roshi as well, he can just keep on sitting there taking life whenever he wants to. That's why we see them play like the 2-cost hit and sometimes the 1-cost Whis as well, as early door answers to that Roshi. But at the minute, he's quite happy taking this damage, knowing that he's got a board full. He's left his guys inactive again, so there's nothing to attack on the board from his opponent's side. Caterpillar is going to come down as the Roshi counter here as well, and it's also going to get a -5 with the Khalifa as well, but probably no way of clearing it. So yeah, absolutely fine. Just keeping that inactive, passing it over. A real chess game again here. No one really wants to commit just yet, and it's just about who can position themselves correctly to then take their life down to 3 on their turn and put together a really punishing play.
Yeah, and I think again, just going back to what we were talking about earlier, I do think like this is where potentially, if you start playing too many battle cards, this is where the Beerus is then going to punish you, right? Like even right now, like it wouldn't be massively worth right now, but he would still clear out 3 battle cards if Eric played it, for example.
Oh, yeah, that's it. And I think even like to a lesser extent, the Gohan Adolescence minuses everything by 10k. And that would clear up a couple of these, like you clear up the Basel, for example. And then if you can combo that with the Awaken, which he gets here and plays a Caterpillar that then can then minus another 5k, swing, minus another 5k, and start clearing up the board, it then swings all that tempo back forward, because it is effectively a war of who can establish their board and the opponent doesn't have the immediate answer to it, because that's when one player is just going to steam ahead. Eric, at the minute, is that player steaming ahead. He's already awakened. His opponent, having to take the crit there from the Khalifa, drops down to 4 life. And Eric's going to really want to use... I wouldn't be surprised to see him use the energy marker here with the leader effect, just to really push the advantage here.
Yeah.
Again, he gets to decide when he awakens. He's going to make his opponent awaken now as well. But he could leave that energy marker up defensively for his following turn. But I mean, we've been watching Topku all day. How many times does this deck play defensively?
Yeah, I must admit, I think I would play defensively, but I'm not generally an aggro player. I'm obviously a control player. But it looks like he's just going to play something. So let's assume it's the leader skill. Yeah, he's discarding a card.
In there. He's got the pretty Keflas as well. There you go.
Yeah, they are very nice.
We were kind of saying earlier when in one of the games as well, like our master's mindset kicks in and we go, oh, I want to keep some energy up for like a gate or a counterplay. In this game, energy not used is energy wasted. Even
Yeah.
if you're like, sometimes you want to keep up one defensive activate battle. But again, you're stopping yourself from losing. You're not necessarily putting yourself in a winning position. Whereas
Yeah.
using your energy offensively, especially in this Topku deck, is not only clearing your opponent's board, taking cards out of their hand by attacking, but establishing that board ready to win the game on the next couple of turns.
Yeah, I think if we want people to keep energy open for defensively, I think what we need is extra cards that are defense only and are like 30k, a bit like how the Broly has obviously the one that can get like all the way up there. I think if they want other decks to like potentially go in that sort of manner, then I think they need to really consider the same kind of principle, right? They need like 40k on defense or something like that. Then I think they would start keeping energy open potentially.
But that's it. It just feels bad at the minute when you're not establishing another battle card on the board, or like you're not netting some kind of like card advantage from like the Gallic Gun's a great example in blue where you draw a card by using it. So yeah, you're defending, but you're not losing any cards to do it. Whereas the other ones are like, yeah, I've got a 25, 30k boost, but I lose a card in hand to do it, and my opponent is gaining cards by playing Keflers and swinging at me and forcing that card out of my hand, and that's when the card advantage starts to swing. So that's why this Topku deck is so determined to go, I'm going to use all my energy here, especially on a turn like this where he knows he can catch his opponent having to awaken in his turn defensively.
Yeah, exactly. And it's quite interesting as I'm sort of again watching the mirror match play out, because you guys watch it a lot more than I have. I'm kind of seeing some of the interesting sort of turns, and like this kind of turn, like the Beerus could still be a huge tempo turn, but like you say, it then only takes a couple of cards to then get it all back again.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, this will be an awakened turn at least. So like in terms of like playing a lot of battle cards and stuff. So, we'll see what the plan is here. So I think he's going for board, right? Looking at what he's doing.
Yeah, he's kind of positioning like he's swinging with the battle cards first, and I do wonder whether he's just using the Caterpillar to knock down a couple of battle cards, to soften them up, and then he's going to spend big on like a Gohan or a Beerus. We see the tap 3 for the Goku. Okay, so that's like a nice bit of removal for something in the active. The Caterpillar pressures one of the board guys, because this is the thing: if he can't clear this board up completely this turn, he's going to lose more cards next turn to the onslaught of battle cards. But because he spent a lot of his energy here, he's not. He's going to have to pressure them with attacks, and Eric will be more than happy just giving him a 5k to keep his board around. So next turn he has all the pressure to either clear board and then swing at the leader. You got to remember that on the right-hand side here, we've dropped down to 2 life. So he's well within Ribrian range as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think one thing I was just thinking about, which is quite interesting, I'm not sure why they did it in this manner, but one thing I find weird is the 3-drop Goku KOs rather than minuses by 20k. And I don't know why that was done that way. Because obviously red traditionally is minusing everything. So whether or not they made a small error when they did the card, I don't know. But I was just thinking, it's quite an interesting thing they did there.
Yeah, I think the Goku's like a nice idea because what it is, it's like you combo your minus effects with just a straight up KO. You could, yeah, I think I get it where you're like, well, why does it not just minus by 20k, for example? But we may well see a few cards. There might be a couple of cards already in the game or some in the future. There's cards, for example, like just thought about it now, the U7 Android 17, that can't be KO'd by effects, but if it was minus to 0, the game mechanic would still destroy it. So this Goku is slightly balanced in a way that it can't interact with those cards because it's a straight up KO.
Exactly.
But other minus cards can get around that. So there's a little bit of a nuanced interaction there.
Yeah, because that's the thing. It's like in the mirror, like right now with the Android 17 card, obviously it gives your leader a 5k boost, but it has an ability that it can't be KO'd. So it's like, for example, this is an example where if that 3-drop Goku was minus 20k instead of KO, fair enough, he's got other things, but that's an example where if that was your top deck, it would feel bad because you couldn't kill the target compared to if it was any other minusing ability, really.
Yeah, exactly that. And I think there's like a little bit of like it's almost trying to balance it in a way because like the minusing is almost without barrier in the game a complete and utter removal of something. And this Goku has been like really powerful in these decks as well because of it, because not only is it a life add, but it's also a KO. And then also balanced around the fact that it's also 0 combo, which is a nice bit to add in there. It's just a shame we didn't have that when we were thinking about Kefla, right?
I mean, that's what's insane with this Basil, right? It can literally search for about 90%, well, probably 95% of your deck. Because obviously it can get any TOP card that's 4 or less.
Yeah.
So obviously your super combos in itself you can't get, but pretty much everything else in the deck, or at least the majority of it, not everything, but all the new cards at least are all TOP. Obviously stuff like the DBS is not, because they're just U7s, but there's still a big chunk of your deck that it can actually search. And also that potentially is just going to get stronger anyway, right? Especially as sets go on and things like that. One thing I have noticed, and again, it feels weird for us, probably coming from Masters, but there's no secret rares used in this deck, and I guess it's just because it's too expensive to be played, really.
Yeah, and like so, there's this the secret rare is a powerful card, but it's just far too costly for kind of what it does. Like if you're going to spend 4 energy on a card, in this format, like you've seen how much Topku can commit to the board in like 1 or 2 energy. Like the Kefla is a better spend of 4 energy than the secret rare. Give you an idea of it is, that Goku can come down minus something and then also swing at a battle card and potentially deal the damage. A Kefla can come down and draw a card, play another guy. It can deal the damage by just swinging at the leader if it wants to. I think it's a card on paper where you see it deals the damage by killing a battle card and you think, wow, that's really cool. That's really powerful effect. But certain cards in this deck, which aren't secret rares, are just so much more powerful for the energy spend of a hard 4 energy that you don't really want to play it. And it's a combo as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think I just like the burn effect too much.
That's the invoker in you coming out.
I think it is. I think it is. I mean, let's look at this game a bit more. So, I mean, I think again, I know he's still got 3 energy open, but I feel like Eric's in a kind of bad position because he's going to establish the Kefla, which is obviously great, right? There's no question about that. Yeah. But I feel like he potentially can't deal with this board. And I'm more of a fan. I kind of wish people were using dice to represent the power boost from Android, because Android's not your turn only, is it? Let me just check.
It might just be it's both players' turns for the KO, and I think it's just his turn for the gaining the power.
No, sorry, it says your leader with universe 7 and special trait gets 5k power.
Oh, okay.
So I wish they would sort of. I mean, I guess because they both play in the same deck, they're kind of both aware of it. But I wish they would make that just a bit more clearer.
Yeah, I think the big struggle that Eric's having here, and like he was in a great turn, he got the awakened turn, he got to put the pressure on, then the snapback came back to him, and you can see he's got 4 super combos in hand, and like in Masters would be like happy days, I'm going in, I'm going to kill him. but he's not seen a super combo from his opponent yet. He's got 4 of them, and they're only 10k on his turn, whereas for his opponent, they'll be 20k, which is like the new balancing behind the super combos here. So he's got his opponent down to 2, but really reluctant to go and try and kill him because defensively, there's more valuable cards in his opponent's hand. Or potential for there to be more powerful defensive cards. So the kill shot looks unlikely. So now he's going to have to attack the board. But because he's clogged up with those super combos, he's not actually got the, I don't see the Ribrian there. I don't see like powerful cards he can start committing to the board. Because he went second, he's used the energy marker. He's actually an energy behind in the race to get to sort of 5 and 6 to start using those big board clearing Beeruses as well if he's playing them. So the draws have put him in quite a sticky situation here at the minute. And I think he was trying to sum up whether he could kind of go for a game shot or whether he's going to have to pivot and deal with the board here, because you can't do half of one. You kind of have to commit to a route, because then you do a half job of clearing the board and a half job of hitting their life so they get to pick up extra cards and they don't lose. And then on the snapback, they become that much more threatening.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I wonder what he minused with the Gohan swing. I assume it was on the Android 17, but again, I'm not too sure what he actually swung, what he actually minused.
The dice suggestion would be phenomenal. I think it's the Android, but we'll have to see how this plays out here. This Kefla is also like a draw one off the 4-drop Kefla as well, so it's just another way of netting a bunch of advantage. But we're going to see the Arrogance extra card, pull back the 10k Kefla, as we've been seeing all tournament long. But that does crucially tap him out, and we're running out of ways to mop up this 4 battle card strong board here.
Unless he's gone for face. Unless he's gone for face, because he is at 2 life. Because, like you say, he's got all these super combos in his hand. So what he might be considering is doing all the damage here to take him down to 1 life, and then use all the super combos defensively to not die on the clapback, and then just hit him and hopefully kill him. Because you're right, it's a weird game, because when we see super combos in Masters, it's like happy days. But I feel like if you see your super combos too early in Fusion World, it's actually a hindrance, and it's really bad. Obviously, you don't want to wait too long to see them. But I feel like you say, if you got 4 in your hand right now, it's probably a feels bad moment. But yeah, it's.
That's exactly it. I think that's what Eric's really experiencing here, is like 4 super combos, great, but they're only worth 10k offensively. If your opponent's got the same amount of super combos as you, they instantly win. His opponent's probably like kind of dealing up here and the good thing here, actually, before I get into that point, is that Eric gets a chance here to see how strong the hand is. If this attack here gets comboed out of but no super combos are used, because that's a really easy attack there to kind of go, I'm going to commit a super combo and another combo to. This will give him a lot of intel on how strong that hand is and how much quality is in there. He combos out, and I think that kind of does end the turn there. And now it's like, okay, you don't want to commit anymore. You can maybe swing this Kefla at the board and then keep your super combos back, knowing that you can probably survive through a lot of these swings with your hand size, keep your board intact, and then try and win on the next turn. So he is kind of scatting out with that attack. Hopefully this will just go at the board now. He'll pivot to clear up one of these threats. Yeah, here's the Android swing.
Yeah. And like you say, we saw 2 super combos come out of Colin's hand there, because obviously he's using the Ribrian super combo.
Yes.
So we know at least he's 2 super combos down. And obviously we can see Eric's hand, and he's got 4 super combos, I believe. So I think I don't think anyone's dying this turn, but we'll see. It's going to be a very interesting turn.
See, you'd like to think so, right? That no one's going to die on this turn, but if it's sequenced correctly with the amount of battle cards on board, I'd almost want to see like a little like 5k here and there kind of put on top of these battle cards, just to like 5 or 10k, just to push it to the run where you're going, look how efficient it would be to answer this with a super combo. You like want to coax them out of him. If he has to runs out of cards in hand and has to spend multiple super combos on some of these swings, and then afterwards you can go Ribrianne with leader effect, arrogance, and kill, you could potentially see it. But I think the safer play absolutely is what he's doing here, which is just swinging for board. And again, Colin's doing the same thing that Eric was doing last turn, where it's like, right, let's see how strong this hand is. Let's see if I can coax a couple of super combos out and set up for a kill turn later on.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, again, we see the Basil here, so he's going to look at top 5. What have we got? We got a Master Roshi. We got the extra card. We have a Kefla, I think, but I think that's the crit one. Yeah, actually, yeah, it is.
Which does get added here as well. And interestingly, I think they both stopped charging on 4, so that would indicate that there is no Beerus in these lists. So it's just that's why we're seeing so much of just swinging after the board from each player.
Yeah.
And like having to use like small minus effects here and there, like we're seeing a like Catapesla getting in there. Here comes Ribrianne. I believe that's the double strike Ribrianne as well.
So this is very strong.
I think he wants to swing here, and like a Ribrianne just with an arrogance and an extra like 5k or something is
He's
super strong.
For game.
Going all in. Oh, I don't know about this.
Oh,
he's about to be in for a very rude surprise from these super combos. I think he was better off playing safe for this turn, because look, that's 80k.
I mean, it's still a lot. It's still a lot.
What are we up to there? So that would be like, they're 20k each, so it's like 80k's worth. He's gone 20, 30, 40.
50, 60, 70, 80. It's about, about 130 maybe? Because that's the thing, isn't it? It's harder to count if a card's 5 or 10k in this game, because
he's out of it. Yeah, no, absolutely. On that point as well, is like, like because these players are slamming down the cards so quickly, you're like, oh, I think that's a 5, I think that's a 10. So we're having to kind of guesstimate on the go how much it is. But Eric is absolutely out of that attack. Now he's just gets the clapback turn. All of his cards. Yeah, look, you just know it's over there. I don't think that was the right play to go for the double strike there. I think he had another turn to kind of just poke away at the hand, play slow, look at the board, and then look to use arrogance next turn to win the game. But again, he doesn't know what the hand entails. You don't know that Eric's holding on to 4 super combos, but he does go into them. Eric combos out the attack and then can win the next turn because the hand's empty.
Yeah, the thing is, it's like it's a really difficult one, because I've done that many times. I've done a game like obviously on the client. I've gone for game thinking easy, combo my entire hand, and then he has 4 super combos, or like he has the like 0 cost